Hey, Luke and Bree Love.
What's up, Tamika?
What's good, man? Long time no speak.
Yeah, life.
23 years, 22. And
Yeah,
don't
we
tell
need to
me how
change
old I
that.
am. I know I'm old, just like
It's
you were.
okay. You're seasoned. You're
I'm
seasoned.
seasoned. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I like that. We need to hashtag that and put
Yeah.
it on a t-shirt. Like,
Right.
right?
Yes,
So what you've been up to, man? I hear that you've got a new project working. Talk to me a little bit about that. What's going on?
I do. It's called Free Favor. Um, it's literally about freeing people from the bondage of life,
Okay.
helping people find happiness, helping people find a way to find some peace and joy. It's pretty amazing.
So how'd you come up with that name?
Well, a few years ago, I went through a pretty tough time. Um, and like everybody, I turned to church and I found a lot of peace in church.
Mhm.
Um, One of the things I didn't like about it was that it seemed as if it was always about paying. It was always something that cost money.
Mhm.
And I had an issue with that. So salvation is free. It's not something that should cost you money. Um, so free favor is about enlightening people uh, and teaching them how to live in salvation and have it enrich their lives without it having to cost them anything.
Right. So you talked about a little bit about you had gone through some things. If you don't mind sharing with some people out there, what were some of those things that you were going through that made you realize, enough is enough?
Um, well, I was sitting on the edge of my bed with no clothes on and a gun in my mouth. So
Oh,
that was kind of the moment that I woke up. And I'm going to tell you, so you would be amazed at how many people have been in that position. Um, it took me about 20 minutes to gain the courage to do it, because people are like, oh, well, I thought about killing myself. And then you're like, well, you're still here. So you didn't really think about it. But no, I really planned to do it. I was sitting on the edge of my bed. I was ready to do it. I got the courage and I pulled the trigger. And guess what? Nothing happened. So it took me about 2 or 3 minutes to realize that nothing happened.
mhm.
And then I was like, crap, I got to do this again. Like, Um, and then I heard that, there was someone at my door. I didn't go to open the door, but she invited herself in. And it was a friend of mine. And she's like, what are you doing? And I was just sitting there and she's like, put on some freaking clothes. So I got up, I put some clothes on, and then we went shopping. Um,
Okay.
so, I realized that number one, how do you screw up that? How do you screw that up?
Mhm.
Number two, I realized that it wasn't time for that.
Mhm.
Um, and number three, I realized that there's a reason why it didn't work. So I started to try to figure out what that reason was.
Okay.
And it led me on a journey, and that journey led me here.
To this project.
Yes.
Well, Luke, and you and I have been friends for a long time, and I don't know if you saw my reaction, but I didn't know that part of your story.
Mhm.
And I know we're on camera and I'm trying to hold back the tears, but I'm glad that you're still here with us because it is your story are stories that we definitely need to hear, especially in the Black American community. Um, because you're not the only one that struggles with suicidal thoughts, and we need to normalize talking about it. And we need to normalize, we meaning the Black American community, we need to have these discussions. And uh, I'm sorry that you went through that, but I am eternally grateful that it didn't work and that you're still here, because I truly believe that your story is going to help more people. And the project that you are trying to launch and get off the ground is definitely going to help more people. So I just wanted to say that, and that comes from my heart as a friend, and we know a lot about each other. And yeah, so let me just gather my thoughts for a moment.
Well, so let me share something with you.
Yeah.
So when you really think about what
Mhm.
people are going through, like what leads you to that place, right? Because you don't just wake up one day and say, "Hey, I think I'm tired of living,"
Right.
right? So there's something that happens that leads you to that place,
Right.
right? So if you put everything on a scale and you took all your problems and you put them on one side of the scale, and
Mhm.
then you took your life and you put it on the other side of the scale, and then you really look at what you have,
Mhm.
are those problems worth losing your life? I
Exactly.
mean, it's ridiculous. It's not even close.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's losing a marriage, or, it could be as detrimental as losing a child or
Mhm.
losing a job. Embarrassment is it's a powerful tool,
Mhm.
and it will lead you down a very, very dark path if you don't find some peace and find a way to ground yourself.
For sure. For sure. So let me ask you, when you went shopping with your friend,
Mhm.
what were you thinking as you were out shopping? Were you like, okay, I've got to change something? What were your thoughts right after that?
So I had lost, I mean, I had gone through a really, really tough time financially. I mean, 4 months before that, I was doing really well. I mean, I had three businesses that were thriving. I had plenty of money and plenty of toys, and everything was great. And literally, 3, 4 months later, um, the IRS was after me because I hadn't paid taxes. I had lost my job. I found out that I had some health conditions and had to have an emergency surgery. I found out that my wife was cheating on me and I lost my family.
Mhm.
And that particular day, I found out that they were foreclosing on my home. So I just felt like I would be better. I would be more of a benefit to the people in my life if they had the insurance money. And when when it didn't work, I mean, I was so upset at myself. I'm like, how could you not even pull this off? Like, how is that possible? But as I got dressed, I said, you know what? That part of my life is over. It did work.
Mhm.
It didn't work physically, but it worked spiritually. So everything that I experienced before that moment was
Mhm.
over. So I had chosen to live every single day as a fresh life from that time on. So when I was shopping, it was joyous. I mean, I had absolutely no money. Um, we went to the Savannah Mall, and I didn't have any money, which was unlike me.
Mhm.
And she bought me some orange chicken from the Savannah Mall. I don't know if you've ever had the Chinese chicken from the Savannah Mall, but
Mhm.
it was the best chicken I had ever eaten in my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed the rest of that day. Um, and that was more joyful than all of the days I spent with all the money.
Wow. Wow. That's something. And that's something so simple as a meal, you know. So fast forward to your project, Free Favor.
Yes.
There's some elements to it. You have a character. Talk to me about the character that's in there.
So the character's name is Marcus. Marcus is actually a childhood friend of mine.
Okay.
We grew up together. We went to high school together.
Like a real childhood friend or imaginary friend?
No, 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 no,
Okay.
no, no, no. You're trying to make me crazy. I'm not crazy.
No, no, they okay.
It's okay. No, no,
I
no.
still have my imaginary friend that I talk to from time to time.
Listen. I've got a couple of them. But no, he's a real childhood friend. His life is just it just fit for the character. Um, he's the guy that grew up with all of the stuff, who had all of the opportunities, had a really good, stable family. He was just that guy. He was very popular. Everyone liked him. Um, but throughout life, he has always gotten right to the edge of success and then literally just missed the boat. Like he gets to the pier about 3 minutes after the boat has sailed away, and that has been his journey for the last 42 years. So interacting with the character Marcus came from, I actually sent Marcus a book,
Okay.
and he called me back and he said, man, that book was life-changing, and we discussed it.
So you're still in contact with Marcus?
Yeah, at least once a
Does he
week.
know what you're doing with your project and the character?
Absolutely. I had to get photos from him, and I had
Okay.
to, yeah.
What does
He's
he think about Marcus? What does he think about it?
so he's known me for a long time. He knew the young knucklehead guy. He knew the teenager that was, trying to find himself. He knew the military guy that was off his rocker.
Yeah,
He knows this guy. There's been a couple of different renditions of me, but when I told him about the project, he said, it's about time that you decided to do something with this gift that you have. And that was shocking because I never looked at it as a gift, but he was pretty excited about it.
What was the name of that book?
It's called A Happy Pocket Full of Money. It's pretty cool though. It's a really, really good book. It really forces you to think, and it's really hard to communicate with people because people, number one, people don't listen, right? Most people are waiting to talk, which means they're not receiving any of the information that you give them. Number two, people don't want to take responsibility. And it's really hard to get someone to change their path if they don't first take responsibility for it. So that book allows people to not blame themselves. And Free Favor is designed to teach people to rely on what we call God power.
Right.
So it's not you. It's the power that God has granted you. And you have the ability to use it. Whether you choose to use it or not is up to you.
So let me ask you this. Why is it important for other people to learn Free Favor?
Well, so the premise of this, it's rooted in religion. But I don't like religion. I don't like what it has become. So as I went down this journey, I learned that the one thing that you're supposed to do after you are granted favor is you're supposed to go out and tell others about it. The Bible always says, give him credit, make sure that, you exalt him, and I'm like, that really doesn't work, right? So this God who's all powerful and all knowing, he needs me to puff up his coattail. I mean, that's crazy. But it's not about him. He doesn't need your praises. It's about everyone else, right? So if I encounter someone that might be thinking about going home to sit on their bed with no clothes on, and I tell them what happened to me, they may also seek him and seek, deliverance and peace using the same system that I used.
So let's talk about how favor, right? How's it impacted your life till this moment, right?
Okay, so the first time that I really tried it, so the Bible calls it grace. But that's one of the words that people associate with church. And when you say it, they're like, oh. So I decided to call it favor. The first time I decided to give it a shot, I was at work and I was really, really frustrated because, I just putting in crazy hours and, I said, man, there's got to be something better, So I was going to go to lunch and my brother had just come to the dealership and taken my car, so I didn't have transportation.
Mhm.
So I walk over to the dealership next door to ask a buddy of mine if he wanted to go to lunch. So I bump into this guy and he says, "Hey, Luke, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm about to go to lunch." He goes, "Oh, great. Let's go to lunch together." I'd never gone to lunch with this guy. I'd
Mhm.
talked to him maybe 2 or 3 times. I'd seen him around for maybe a few years, but didn't know anything about him.
Yeah.
So we go to the Huddle House to eat.
Oh, I love the huddle.
And man, listen,
So,
that's one of my guilty pleasures.
oh Lord. Okay, sorry.
Um, so we go to the Huddle House to eat, and we're sitting there, and he's like, "So, what are we going to talk about?" I'm like, "I don't know you, bro. So I don't know." And he was like, "Well, I had a dream last night, and I knew that I was going to talk to somebody today. I didn't know who, but when you came over, I knew it was you." I'm like,
Mm.
"Okay." He's like, "So what have you been thinking?" I said, "Man, I'm thinking about quitting my job."
Wow.
And he's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, what are you waiting for?" I'm like, "Well, I've got a lot of bills. I'm
Mm.
afraid to be homeless."
Mhm.
He's like, "Nah, that's not how God works." He
Mm.
said, "If he's told you to do it and you feel that you need to do it, do it.
Mhm.
Don't ask him if you need to do it. Thank him for giving you the courage to do it and go do it. Don't worry about the money."
Mhm.
So I said, "All right." So I get back to work. I walked around for about 2 hours because I was terrified to quit.
Of
So
course.
he calls me and he says, "Hey, have you quit yet?" I was like, "No, man, I'm scared." So he's like, "Just do it. Just do it. Don't worry about it." So I was like, "Okay." So I walk up to my boss. I said, "Hey, man, I love you. I quit."
Oh wow.
Yep. But my brother had taken my car, so I was stranded.
You were just like, well, I quit, but I have to wait for my ride to come pick me up.
So I sit over there and wait for my ride to come pick me up. So I was without a job for about probably 2 years.
Mhm.
Um, and you might say to yourself, "Well, how did you sustain yourself for 2 years?"
Right.
Tamika, for 2 years, I didn't work for 2 years.
I didn't know this.
Yep. I received money from things that I had no idea that I had.
Mm.
No exaggeration. When I had depleted my savings, I was like, "All right, God, you told me that you had my back. You told me that this thing worked. I quit my job believing and having faith. This thing
Mhm.
should work."
Mhm.
And literally about 2 days later, I go to check the mailbox, and there was a check in the mailbox for like $70,000. It was a 401k plan that I had at a previous dealership that I had never paid a dime into. I had
That
never
worked.
paid
Or
a
maybe you
dime into it.
forgot. Maybe you forgot.
No, no, because I contacted the dealership and I said, "Hey, I just received this check."
Uh-huh.
And they're like, "Oh, yeah, well, we match up to this percentage. Even though you didn't pay into it, we still provide you with the match."
Shut up.
Yeah. And then when that money ran out, I got another check and
Wow.
another check. So for 2 years, I received spooky money
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
from all over the place.
Wow. Ain't
Yeah.
that something?
Yeah.
I can relate. I can relate
Only when I went back to work did I lose everything.
for sure. For sure. Wow. I can relate. I've had those moments where I'm like, Lord, I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And he's like, don't worry. And then I stop worrying and then boom.
Mhm.
It anyway, this is not my story, it's your story. So, you know, what's next for Free Favor? I know this is brand new for you. You're just
Mhm.
launching it. What's next for this project?
So we're going to launch 4 platforms. The main one is Free Favor. And over the years, I have learned that there are some rules to
Mm.
favor. And if you don't abide by the rules, it doesn't work. Um, these rules are written in the Bible. It's not like I figured them out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if you don't use the rules, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Free Favor is the main platform, and it's designed to teach people how to use it effectively. The other one is called On the Couch, and it's
Oh,
where I sit with another person
uh-huh.
and we simply talk about life.
Okay.
Now, what's unique about that is At the end of the session, I will pray with the person and we will give thanks for something that they desire that they have not been able to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will report back with what happened in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done that with just about everyone that's close to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it has worked 100% of the time.
Okay.
And then we're going to do a segment called Daily Devotionals. And that's going to be a 2 or 3 minute clip where you're going to be getting daily reinforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be include Marcus. And we've got this theme. It's really, really cool. Go ahead.
So where are people going to be able to consume this content?
So we're going to launch it on YouTube and Spotify. We'll have it on, well, we're building our website, so we'll have it on our website. And then we're going to launch it on social media. My team's going to have to do that because I don't have social media.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what's about social media? But no, I get it. It's not for everybody. So what about the people out there who are non-believers?
What's that?
What about for the people out there who are non-believers?
So that's who I'm going for. Those are the people that I am reaching out to, are the non-believers. That's why I call it favor and not grace. That's why I call the Bible the holy book of knowledge and not the Bible. Faith-bearing people still need help, right? Because the church is failing them. The people that don't have faith are probably the easiest people to help. So yeah, I'm trying to reach everyone.
Well, Lucan, this was great catching up with you. I am excited about this project. So I'm gonna sit back and see how it goes. But you always have my support. So fantastic, good job, very good job. Thank you.